What kind of equity has God given you with which to build his kingdom? Hi, my name is Jess Gibson from the Lakes, and today's good news reflection comes from our chapter of the day, which is Matthew 25. A few years back, I read a book by Mike Breen called Oikonomics, and it forever changed my perspective on this little chunk of scripture that I'm going to focus on today, which comes from Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. I don't have time to read it all today, so I encourage you to go read it on your own. But it's this story of three servants, and each of them is given a different amount of money to invest while the master goes on a journey. The one is given 5,000, the second one 2,000, and the last one 1,000. And most of you are probably familiar with this story. The first servant doubles his money and gets commended. The second servant doubles it and gets commended. The last servant buries it in a hole in the yard and gets razzed pretty bad by the master when he gets back. And I always felt like, gosh, that just seems a little harsh. He didn't lose any of the money. What could have possibly been wrong with that approach? In the book Oikonomics, it talks about there being five capitals that we have as humans that can be used to invest in God's kingdom. And those capitals are financial capital, intellectual capital, your thought, your ideas, your imagination, physical capital, which would be your strength and stamina, your physical ability, relational capital, which has to do with your friends and your ability to connect with others. And lastly would be spiritual equity, your relationship with God. God gives those capitals to each of us in varying amounts. You may not have a ton of financial capital with which to invest in God's kingdom, but perhaps you're really good at forming friendships and investing in relationships. Or perhaps God has given you quick wit and a high intellect with which you can make creative solutions to build his kingdom. All in all, our spiritual capital is always supposed to be the most important to us, at the top of our priority list. So no matter what capitals, what equities, assets God has given you in your life, I encourage you to use those today and every day to invest in and build God's kingdom.